Good Thursday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harabsky. Right now, ships carrying millions of barrels of crude oil and fuel at a standstill today through Iran's Strait of Hormuz. This comes after the United States and Iran traded strikes for a second night in a row. This as President Trump says the ceasefire is over. NBC's Raf Sanchez has the latest.
Sirens blaring across the Gulf today as Iran retaliates to a set of overnight American strikes with drone and missile attacks of its own targeting U.S. bases. The U.S. Central Command says it hit some 90 targets in southern Iran overnight at the instruction of President Trump, who has signaled that he is losing patience with these on-off peace negotiations. The president saying that he believes the ceasefire is now over and that he doesn't know if Iran could even make a deal at this stage. At the same time, he didn't fully rule out a return to negotiations, and he said that he thinks that it is unlikely that there will be a resumption of full-scale fighting between the U.S. and Iran. Oil prices are up at this renewed hostility going back and forth. We are hearing also today from Iran's top negotiator, the Speaker of the Iranian parliament. He is saying that whatever happens, Iran will remain in control of the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. and its allies have consistently said that is unacceptable, and so the deadlock continues. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Jerusalem.
This afternoon, President Trump is back at the White House following the NATO summit. He says he had a good conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. During the meeting, the president gave Ukraine the go-ahead to start building Patriot missile interceptors. It's a multi-million-dollar weapon designed to detect, track, and destroy ballistic missiles. Over the last 5 years, Zelensky has asked the U.S. multiple times for more of these interceptors, as well as a license for Ukraine to make their own. New this afternoon, a 17-year-old boy is charged in connection with a weekend homicide in Brooklyn Park. According to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the charge is for a minor in possession of an assault weapon. The victim in that shooting, a 16-year-old, was found dead in Hartkopf Park late Sunday. A decision on whether to charge the 17-year-old as an adult is coming soon, and a homicide investigation is ongoing, according to the Attorney's Office. Neighbors tell KARE 11 they saw groups of teens launching fireworks at the park and couldn't hear the gunshots. Police tell us they also found the gun reportedly used in that shooting. Today, a woman charged in the Feeding Our Future childhood nutrition program scheme will face an additional federal charge. Fahima Mahmoud is charged with a federal count of wire fraud and now an additional count of conspiracy to defraud the U.S. Court documents allege Mahmoud's Future Leaders Early Learning Center in Minneapolis fraudulently received more than $850,000. She's expected to plead guilty. We're keeping an eye on this as it unfolds today, and we'll bring you the latest updates tonight at 5 o'clock. Also today, one of the suspects in the DOJ's mass fraud indictment is expected to enter a plea in federal court. Jelaine Mertens is charged with wire fraud, accused of submitting false claims to the state for 3 child care centers where services were not provided. They say she was paid $425,000. Well, today marks 70 days since Chisago County workers hit the picket line, and today the union is going back to mediation with county reps hoping to reach a fair contract for roughly 170 workers. County says it's offering 6.5% yearly raises. In a statement, it says that, quote, it's consistent with market data from similar counties, end quote. The union pushing for a higher wage to keep up with inflation. Union reps also want to switch to the Teamsters health care plan.
This is very hard work. We have a very dedicated crew that everyone is still here. They believe in the right thing.
Throughout the strike, 65% of employees are still showing up for work, but the county says it had to hire temporary workers, expending, quote, substantial funds to pay those temporary workers. Well, the public and activists packed Minneapolis City Hall yesterday to comment on a proposed drone pilot program. Some of the crowd raised concerns about increased surveillance in the city, while others took issue with the drone's manufacturer, Skydio. Nasir Kelvi has more.
Welcome to the regular meeting.
Even the overflow rooms were overflowing at Minneapolis City Hall.
This is not the right choice for the city of Minneapolis.
Reverend Laura McGrail came to City Hall to oppose a proposed pilot program that would use drones as first responders.
It's here being so-called field tested. It's going to be used for surveillance and new to Minnesota, but not new to trauma in a community.
McGrail and others have a deeper concern than just the use of drones. It's the fact that the manufacturer being considered has worked extensively with the Israeli Defense Force throughout their war in Gaza.
To reject any partnership with Skydio.
Skydio, the company in question, confirmed on its website that its drones are in active use by Israel. According to Politico, Skydio sent more than 100 of its drones to Israel in the weeks after the October 7 attack by Hamas.
It's wrong to support a drone company that is being weaponized in war, and in particular genocide, and it's wrong to have surveillance over your people.
In a statement to Kare 11, a city spokesperson said the drones would not fully replace first responders. We've seen great results from communities across Minnesota and the country that are using this technology to respond to 911 calls, and we believe it's important to explore whether those same benefits could help improve public safety in Minneapolis, according to the city. The 75-day free contract with Skydio will come before a full council vote next week. Now, that proposal would be for a 75-day free pilot program. And Chris, we do know that that pilot program would be conducted in North Minneapolis' 4th Precinct.
Thank you, Nas. Right now, parts of I-90 in southern Minnesota are being detoured because of flooding.
Scott's car's floating down the street.
So a viewer sharing this video of her street flooded in northeast Austin, Minnesota, about an hour and a half south of the Twin Cities, after a few inches of rain fell in that area. A few blocks away, the street looking more like a river going past homes, and Austin has a history of mega floods down there, so these are not good memories for them. You can also find the latest updates on MnDOT's website. A new traffic pattern started on 394 in downtown Minneapolis yesterday as a years-long construction project continues. Traffic moving out of the city back into their normal lanes after using the Easy Pass lanes since February, while cars driving into the city are now using those Easy Pass lanes. The change-up already causing some confusion. Ian Russell has a closer look.
If construction is our 5th season, then this is the dog days of it.
It started last July, so it is a mammoth project that we're working on.
A season that started early this year.
We did start this work in winter, which is not typical.
And one that's still got a ways to go.
This is an important milestone and puts us at a good spot and a good schedule to hit our November deadline.
For the first time in months, traffic is moving again on the main lanes of westbound 394, part of a summer shift as MnDOT moves forward with repairs.
I think it's fair to say that we're sort of at this halfway point of this project.
Traffic has now flipped on 394 between downtown Minneapolis and St. Louis Park. The westbound lanes are now open, the eastbound lanes closed. If you're heading downtown or to 94 from the west side, you're in the Easy Pass lanes.
There still will be delays and impacts, especially for those eastbound lanes. With construction, we all know as Minnesotans that it's difficult, it's frustrating, it can create headaches.
Nathan Bowie with MnDOT says the $67 million project is to help repair bridges and roads.
This is frustrating, it is tough to sit through traffic, but ultimately the end point is that these are important improvements to make to our infrastructure.
Important work that needs to get done as construction season stretches on.
We're really stressing for folks to give yourself some extra travel time, plan ahead, and be prepared for some delays.
Ian Russell reporting there. Got an update this afternoon out of Wisconsin. We're learning that a former Milwaukee judge will have to pay a fine for helping an undocumented man escape a courthouse. Federal authorities say Hannah Dugan was seen on video helping Eduardo Flores Ruiz avoid 2 federal agents trying to arrest him. They say she opened a restricted door for him, allowing him to escape the courthouse. During yesterday's hearing, the judge noted her lifetime service to the community and said prison time was not necessary. Baristas at the 50th and France Starbucks in Edina are the latest to join the union in this state. The staff voted 9-6 to join that union, making 17 union stores across the state. The union statement says they're looking to come to an agreement with Starbucks about several issues, including staffing, pay, and making sure baristas have enough hours to qualify for benefits. Summer travel season ramping up, and today is expected to be the busiest travel day of the summer. Airports even more crowded than the 4th of July. The FAA says they're expecting more than 56,000 flights taking off today compared to the 52,000 last week. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more on what's driving this surge.
Hey there, from yet another summer travel surge, potentially the busiest day, the FAA says, of the entire month, even busier than the holiday surge that we just saw for the 4th. And the FAA says this seemingly random pickup in flights is absolutely real. They say thanks to a couple of factors. Number one, they say we're kind of on the extreme tail end of people still returning from their July 4th travel. That's number one. Number two, they say there's also just the unwavering enthusiasm for family vacations this summer, which tend to kind of pick up around weekends as well. So you have those two factors combined today. The agency says the key statistic that leads them to believe that this surge will be the biggest of the month is that we have more than 56,000 flights taking off coast to coast today. On the peak day for the July 4th travel surge, we only had roughly 52,000 plus. Same story for this past Thanksgiving. The peak day was the Tuesday prior back in 2025, also around 52,000 flights. TSA says, look, with July 4th and also the World Cup travel kicking up coast to coast, they've had between 2.5 and 3 million people passing through America's airports each day. They say those numbers aren't wavering off. At the same time, they admit, and other travel analysts point this out as well, that this is happening despite rising airfare costs. Fares to top destinations, including Chicago and Denver, are up 5% from this time last year, and the average for a domestic round-trip airfare is $830. But a recent study shows a lot of American families are frankly just willing to eat those costs, adjusting their budgets, some even saying they'll go into debt to make this year's summer family vacation a reality. And that's clearly what we're seeing today. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Maggie. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.